Well, good morning. Joan and I are here down in sunny Pensacola, Florida this week. We came down to get some beach time, just the two of us, but also to visit my mom and my sister, Diane, and her husband, Ricky, while we were down here for a few days. We're staying this week at a beautiful hotel. It's become Joan and I's one of our favorite hotels, the Pensacola Beach Resort, located right in the heart of Pensacola Beach. It's a beautiful hotel. It's clean, it's newly refurbished, got great food, great service, and how about this view out our window here off our king bedroom, looking right out onto the beautiful turquoise waters of the Gulf of America on these white sandy beaches. But that aside, we also got a chance to spend a few days with my mom and sister Diane and her husband Ricky. We found a great restaurant. It was a little nugget that I was able to find called Nola Pensacola, located in downtown Pensacola right off of Gregory Street. It's a Cajun seafood restaurant. We had a great time, as you can see from these pictures. And oh yeah, I can't not say enough about our waiter, our server, as well as our manager. Bo Jones is his name. He's also a singer, a composer, and actually sang us a song while we were having dinner. Here it is, right here for your enjoyment.
Those drums will be heading home. I want to hear what you're playing. Did you write a new song? Can I sing along? I want to hear the music you're playing. You say you're getting older and your fingers are getting weak. Daddy, please play it one more time for me. Get the stumps from Vietnam, I want to hear what you're playing. Did you write a new song? Can I sing along? I want to hear the music you're making.
Now, I'm also here today and spent some time at Gulf National Seashore. This seashore is a stretch of seashores that the National Park Service manages. It stretches from the Florida Panhandle all the way over to Mississippi, and this particular stretch is a 7-mile stretch on a barrier island on the west end of Santa Rosa County that culminates in Fort Pickens, right at the entrance to Pensacola Harbor. It's a beautiful park with the white sandy beaches, as you can see from some of this footage, the turquoise waters. It's not that populated, but there's a lot of beach access for people to come and enjoy. There's also a lot of other activities to do that include camping. It's also hiking, biking, fishing, as well as the beach activities. And then there's also the historic Fort Pickens that I'll talk about here in just a couple of minutes. This barrier island is in some cases only a couple hundred yards wide. As you can see from this footage, it protects Pensacola Bay from the waters of the Gulf of America. There are times, and especially most recently during Hurricane Ivan about 20 years ago, that the island was breached in several locations, but has since been repaired. But it does provide an area of protection for Pensacola Bay. Now, besides Gulf Shores National Seashore, this park also features Fort Pickens, which is almost a 200-year-old fort that's guarded the entrance to Pensacola Bay since its first building back in the 1830s. A little bit of history about how this fort came to be really started in the 1820s when the Spanish ceded Florida to the United States. Then President James Monroe decided to establish a military presence and authorize the building of a Navy yard at Pensacola, and several part by building, in this case, Fort Pickens, which was the largest of several forts that were built during that time. Now, Pickens gets its name from Andrew Pickens of Revolutionary War fame. The construction was started in the 1820s and finished in the mid-1830s, and this fort played an integral role in the defense of Pensacola, not only during the Civil War, but also during World War I and World War II, before finally being decommissioned in 1947, where today it's part of the National Park System. Now, the story goes that, and this is an interesting fact I learned the other day, that some historians argue that the first shots of the Civil War weren't really fired at Fort Sumter, but right here in Pensacola. And the story goes that in January of 1861, a small contingent of Union troops located at Fort Pickens, which is right across the channel here from Fort Pickens, were attacked by local citizens and militia. During that time frame, there was an exchange of gunfire, and those troops actually relocated from Fort Pickens over to Fort Pickens in January of 1861, and were later reinforced by Union troops all prior to to start the commencement of the shots that were fired at Fort Sumter. So that's why some people argue that the first shots were really fired at Pensacola. Now, this fort was held by Union forces throughout the Civil War, which denied the Confederates a stronghold here in Pensacola. There was an attempt by the Confederates to attack from the land side, from this barrier island that I'm on, when they landed about 4 miles away from the fort and tried to attack the fort from the east. That attack was repelled by the Union forces from Fort Pickens. They retreated, and not too long after that, the Union decided to fire upon Fort Pickens across the harbor that was occupied by Confederates. That fort was badly damaged, and the Confederates there retreated to the command of Braxton Bragg in Mobile, where just not too long after that, the Battle of Mobile Bay was fought between Braxton Bragg and the Union Admiral Farragut of damn the torpedo, full speed ahead fame. So that's a little bit about the Civil War history, but this fort remained a vital part of our coastal defense both during World War I and World War II. Behind me is Battery Cooper. That battery was constructed in about 1900 time frame. This gun, which is on loan from the Smithsonian Institute, is a replica of the type of artillery that was placed here during World War I to provide coastal defense. Now, no shots were ever fired, but it remains an example of what was here. Now, over to my left is another gun. I'll try and get a picture of that to share later on, that was placed during World War II. And those guns, it's actually a gun turret that looks just like something you would see on a battleship. But those were placed during World War II, never used, but were also used as a means of coastal defense during World War II. And then in 1947, this fort was decommissioned. So that's about it for Fort Pickens. I was going to try to get in to Fort Pickens itself, the Battery Pensacola, but it was closed. It was a little late getting opened by the Park Service. They were supposed to open about an hour ago, and they've not shown up. In fact, there was nobody at the front gate today to even take my pass, so I'm not quite sure what's going on there. But I'm going to show some pictures and other video that I've taken here on this beautiful park that I hope you enjoy today. Okay, so finally inside the actual Fort Pickens, a structure that was built back in the 1830s. The gate opened this morning. I was actually able to get in. I'm doing a little pan here on the inside interior, and what we're coming onto is Battery Pensacola, which was built around 1900 and was used for coastal defense during World War I. This is an example of a muzzle-loaded gun right here, the type that was used by the Union forces during the Civil War when they fired upon Fort Pickens to move the Confederates off that position. This is part of the original construction of Fort Pickens from the early 1800s, 1835 time frame. As you can see, as I pan left here, some of the exterior walls actually no longer in place. So I got a little information here. This hole in the wall of the original fort was called Bastion B. And apparently in the late 1890s, a fire started here at Fort Pickens. And before they could put it out, the fire had spread to the magazines, blew up, and blew a hole, destroying this corner of the fort. There were a couple of people killed from flying debris, and they say that bricks were raining down in Pensacola, some 3 miles away from this explosion. Actually on the wall now of the original Fort Pickens, this is the muzzle-loaded guns that were used in the Civil War. So here I am on the southern edge of Fort Pickens, and this is a structure worth noting. As you can see, there's been some excavation here. And on the bottom, you can see an arch, and on the top, an arch, a double arch structure used to provide extra strength to the vertical pilings to support the structure. And here's an example of some small bore artillery, quite common during Civil War.